Canada's exports are caught between global mega shifts in both opportunities and risks. On the positive side, global growth is strong, and the primary driver is our top customer. In addition, our U.S. sales now enjoy more certainty with the signing of the USMCA agreement. A further plus is a steady diversification of exports to fast-growing emerging markets. Now, weighing on the outlook are the dual threats of protectionism, rising interest rates, and the consequent turbulence in emerging markets. In this context, how are Canada's provinces and industrial sectors expected to fare? Well, it's not rare to see radical differences in growth among the provinces in any given year, given their contrasting industrial makeup and differing dependencies on world conditions. 2018 was no exception, producing more outliers than average performers. Things are expected to be more settled in 2019, but there are a few notable exceptions. Newfoundland and Labrador will again be top of the heap, and by quite a large margin. Outsized growth is directly due to the ramp-up of production from both the Hebron offshore oil field and the Vale nickel processing plant at Long Harbour. Small but mighty Prince Edward Island is expected to grab second spot. After a soft 2018, next year should see frozen food exports and gains in the aerospace sector vault the province to 8% export growth. All told, it will be a good year for Atlantic Canada as New Brunswick adds 6% in 2019 to its double-digit expansion this year. The reasons? Positive commodity prices, fishing sector success, and rescinded U.S. duties on newsprint. On the other end of the scale are two provinces taking a pause after banner year performance in 2018. Both Alberta and Nova Scotia are expected to notch 11% growth this year. Alberta's performance has a lot to do with production increases at the Fort Hills Oil Sands project. But despite export capacity increases in 2019 and the opening of a large potato processing plant in Lethbridge, exports will only manage 3% growth. Weak domestic oil prices won't help. Strong export potential and diversification to Asia won't be enough to repeat this year's growth, but Nova Scotia's 3% projection for 2019 cements this year's gains. Exports in the remaining provinces will float in the 4 to 5% range. In Quebec's case, it will come off 6% growth this year and will gain its oomph from the aerospace, mining, and electricity sectors. Ontario will match Quebec's 4% performance in 2019, but in its case will accelerate from a slight decline this year. Flat U.S. auto sales are a key factor, offset somewhat by stronger machinery, mining, and consumer goods exports. Investment in new export capacity could see a lift thanks to the USMCA deal. Manitoba and Saskatchewan will also be in the middle of the pack, although their agri-food prowess positions them well for future global demands. Topping the industrial charts with the second consecutive year of double-digit growth is the aerospace sector. Strong global demand and orders for the A220 should produce a 10% gain in 2019. Next in line is the machinery and equipment industry, which, thanks to U.S. growth, corporate tax cuts, and tightening industrial constraints, is expected to repeat this year's 8% performance. Well, just behind this is the forestry sector at 7%, thanks primarily to stronger U.S. housing starts. Growth will be constrained by industries that command a high share of exports but have a muted 2019 outlook. The energy sector is pausing after two very impressive years and the headwind of soft domestic prices. Autos and parts, another weighty category, has bumped up against peak U.S. sales. And with their strong presence in overall exports and their considerable longer-term global promise, agri-food exports will rebound from a soft 2018 decline, but see just 4% growth in 2019. The bottom line? Final showings at both the provincial and industrial levels can be very different from initial projections. They are subject to shifts in weather, geopolitics, new project announcements, and a host of other factors. All told, the outlook is good on both broad fronts, and in quite a few cases, is faced with upside potential. Until next week, I'm Peter Hall.